Hey, we're back for week 2 of October. We are Asteri Sofia Kairos. We drop a new episode every Wednesday in honor of Hermes. Give us a like and subscribe. It is still 80 degrees here where I live, and I'm ready for layers and sweatshirts. But we have made it through the first week of October. We had a square between Mercury and Jupiter. Mercury entered Scorpio. An Aries full moon lit us up, and a square between Mercury and Pluto might have tied you in knots. This week, though, looks a little sweeter. We're looking at the 8th through the 14th. And for week 2, it's all about Venus. Venus brings to mind connection and relationships and all the things of the senses, like listening to great music, perfumes, art, making your favorite food, luxurious fabrics. I'm that kind of person that every time I'm walking through the store, department store, whatever it is, I have to touch everything. Like I'm running my hands through the clothes. But today, Venus will make a sextile to Jupiter. We get a connection between the benefics. This happens while Venus wraps up her trip through Virgo. On the 11th, Venus opposes Saturn. Saturn's still retrograde in Pisces. This is an interesting connection between these two. Of course, it depends on the placements in your chart. But instead of saying, hey, mutables, this feels like you, I kind of feel like everyone could be affected in one way or another. Venus is an immutable Virgo. She rules cardinal Libra and fixed Taurus. Saturn rules cardinal Capricorn and fixed Aquarius. So both of these major players are dragging all the modalities into this opposition. While Virgo's the place of fall for Venus, Saturn is in Pisces, which is her exaltation. This is a great time to take the cautious and self-critical thoughts and channel them into an artistic, maybe spiritual work that requires patience that these placements can really bring. And just a short 2 days later, on the 13th, Venus gains some dignity back. Welcome home. Immediately runs into an opposition with Neptune. In a sweet way, this aspect could be really fun for like a date night. Or on the flip side, could get all jacked up on Mountain Dew. Do you remember that movie, Talladega Nights? So dumb and funny, but very Venus and Neptune. This kind of an aspect often plays out as idealization versus reality in love and values. If you think of like chasing glamour or fantasy or adoration while avoiding the messy truth, there can be a longing for beauty, connection. Sometimes that gets confused with your image or fame. It's very illusion coded, like Neptune. Disillusionment as initiation, the painful fall from fantasy that opens the door to compassion and authentic love. But the redemption of Venus through Neptune's fall is like love and beauty purified by disillusionment. Back to that movie, Ricky Bobby's loss of glamour. Neptune is dissolved by Venus, but that becomes his path to authentic connection. Then on the 14th, we get a Venus, Pluto, Uranus air trine. Jesus. This feels, Venus, Uranus feels a lot like sparks flying. Could be romantic, could be literal, but finishing off the grand trine and roping in all 3 of these air signs is Pluto. To be honest, one of my favorite movies might actually represent this aspect really well. I'm not going to talk about Talladega Nights again, but there's a movie that starred Robin Williams, and it's called What Dreams May Come. And I added his photo from my favorite scene in this slide. But we're talking about a Venus, Uranus, Pluto air trine, right? So these 3 planets tied to love through Venus, transformation and death through Pluto, and awakening and liberation through Uranus, expressed through an air element that emphasizes mind, perception, communication, and ideals. If we talk about the symbolism through this movie in particular, if you haven't seen it, this may not make as much sense, but the painted heaven is very representative of Venus's artistry in Libra. And there's the mental nature of the afterlife that I think is shown through Uranus and Gemini and the realm of ideals. The transformation of despair into understanding is really a good representation of Pluto in Aquarius. There's a rebirth through new paradigms. And I really love this idea and this movie as a metaphor for this particular trine. I think I'm going to have to expand on this a bit more, but that'll come through some writing. But yeah, I think if you haven't seen it, it's just such a wonderful movie. But I think it represents this air trine so, so well. So summing up this week, on the 8th, we have a Venus sextile Jupiter. On the 11th, Venus opposing Saturn, and then Venus will enter Libra. On the 13th, Venus will oppose Neptune, while Pluto goes direct. And on the 14th, we get Venus trining Uranus, and immediately after Venus trining Pluto. This entire week should be so much sweeter. And believe it or not, that wraps it up. We will see you next week for our weekly astro forecast. You've got all of our photos here at the bottom. I'm Shawna with Smart Astro. You can reach me at smartastro@gmail.com. Janessa from byjoveastrology.com. Krista from practicalastros.com. Sonia with Celestia Astrology. And Mandy Ray with Ecstatic Astrology. Please reach out if you have any questions, want to chat. We are so happy to meet with you, talk with you, and we've always got some new things cooking. That is a wrap. It's going to be an awesome week. Later, babes.